All right, welcome to Hypnosis Hero, the show where you can get hypnotized through the screen. I'm going to fix my hat because it looks crooked. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm offset today. It was one of those days in the schools. So anyway, we will get into this here. We're just checking to make sure we're live in various different places, and hopefully everything shows up appropriately. Because if not, then I'm going to have to alter how I handle these Facebook pieces. I already found out I set it wrong on Facebook, so definitely it's working on YouTube. Hopefully, Brian, if you give me a thumbs up to let me know if it's working on Facebook or not. If it's not, then we'll figure it out. So we'll have to keep working at it. We should also be live on TikTok. So TikTok, welcome. The TikTok tool should be streaming everything as it is. If it is not and we don't see anything, then we've lost them too, and we will carry on. So looks like I got one person coming up on YouTube. That might be you, Brian. Who knows? Big viewership, but we'll carry on. All right. A couple of things that we do want to mention. Of course, next week we will not be on the air because we have somebody who's getting a little bit of work done, and I'll let Brian talk about that in just a moment. And then after that, our next guest will be at the end of the month, at the last Tuesday, will be Shawn Michael Andrews. So we will be looking forward to having Shawn work with us online. All right. Now, all of that said, I'm going to bring on my co-host, the co-host with the most, I guess. Let's see here. Did we get him? We did.
There we are. Yeah, co-host emeritus.
The
I figure
co-host
that just sounds that sounds something official.
works for me. You could say first officer too. That would fly right in.
You know what? Because with the airlines, doesn't the captain fly the left seat?
Well, I don't know. I don't fly. I say make it so, and the ship goes. I
Yeah,
say engage, and the ship goes.
exactly. No. So good evening, Amanda. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, it's been a kind of a busy day. But how are things? Are you thawing out up north?
I really wish I could say that we were. Of course, first fall spring always kind of tries to fool everybody, and then now we're into second false winter.
Where Mother Nature goes off her meds?
Well, there's a little bit of snow falling, and it was actually minus 30 last night here, but fortunately that was a little blip in the radar, and by next week we should be into plus temperatures, which means if it wasn't a slow melt before, it won't be after that, because typically once you hit +5, things really start melting around here. There are still snowdrifts that are actually twice as tall as I am in some of the parking lots from the snow that's been pushed up, and a lot has melted over the last 3 weeks. So,
yeah, and then you guys get that, some melts, and then it gets super cold. The sun goes down, and then it just a nice crust of freezing over again, and then it just creates another layer that you've got to go melt away.
Yep, exactly. All right,
yay science.
Now it is what it is. Looks like we lost our TikTok audience again, so I'm going to set up my phone to go as long as it will go.
Yeah, according to Facebook, it says the live feed should start soon, and that was 5 minutes ago.
And Amanda's actually joining from Facebook, so somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I'm even a co-host in it.
All right. Well, it looks like we got some work to do on how we set this stuff up, because it's not.
Amanda, if you're watching us on Facebook and the feed is up and going, will you throw a comment in there real fast? Or at least, yeah. Because if not, I will just drag the YouTube link into the discussion. Oh, we're up and running. Okay, well, cool. We're on Facebook. It's just not showing up on my end.
And I just got to make sure I've got everybody set so they can actually see our guest, because that's important. And looks like they can see us. Good. All right. So if I do this, I'm looking at TikTok. TikTok, I'm looking at you, just so you know. All
Awesome.
right. So all of that said, uh, what about you? You've got some stuff coming up.
I do. So for people that may not remember, I'm getting rid of my summer teeth, meaning some are there and some are not. There was an unfortunate hockey accident a number of years ago, and so I'm Tuesday next week. I'm going to go in and get a couple of teeth extracted, bone grafts, and it's going to be the first step towards implants. And so next week I should have a partial denture. So you'll probably see me smile a lot more, and I'll look a lot more human. So if I do have a little bit of a lisp moving forward, it's just me getting used to speaking again. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Really looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, one of the great things about dental surgery is that it does, dentistry in general seems to play really, really well with hypnosis. There's lots of examples online
Mm-hmm.
of people going through dental surgery more or less hypnotized without any, um, uh, you know, any kind of numbing agent or anesthetic or anything like that. And there's a few surgeries out there too, which I'm actually kind of surprised are on YouTube, given the nature of some of
Yeah,
the surgeries.
that is
Um,
not something you want to wake up or come out of trance in the middle of. I would be like, look, just give me the drugs, knock me out. But no, I mean, it's not. It's surprising that, but also understandable that a lot of people get a lot of anxiety just over like teeth cleaning.
you know, and needles. Every dentist that I've had that I've talked to and said that, look, I'm a hypnotist. I can help people overcome,
Mm-hmm.
this phobia, this fear of the needle, knowing that yeah, it's gonna poke and it's gonna hurt a little bit, but it's not the end of the world as their fear would suggest that it is. And they all look at me. You can do that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And it's like, yeah, in fact, for people that have those types of fears and phobias, hypnosis is very effective at helping mitigate that, or at least lessen it to the extent that yes, you can actually get what you need done. And
And
then of course,
when they grab your lip or something, and
yep.
depending on where they're doing any sort of numbing, and I had a great dentist who go, all right, here, and he just starts kind of shaking my lip a little bit, so you feel some type of stimulation which kind of distracts you, little teeny tiny poke, and he super quick, and he goes, all right, I just gave it a little snack, and he goes, let that kind of chooch for a little bit, it starts to numb, and he goes right back where he went in, that's already started to get numb, and he goes, okay, a little more, and you know chair side manner and patience is just a
Well, yes,
wonderful thing for the actual provider.
that definitely helps. And then there are some people, of course, who are allergic to the anesthetics or allergic
Mm-hmm.
to the Novocaine or whatever it is that they happen to use as the freezing agent now.
Yeah.
So to those people, I would say, hey, take a good hard look at the using hypnosis to help you manage the pain of whatever it is that you're doing. I know one of my ex sister-in-laws was allergic
Mm-hmm.
and had all four of her molars removed at the same time, and just very very slight girl at the time, and her face
Yeah.
was just like a chipmunk.
Yeah. Wisdom teeth.
Yeah, and wisdom teeth and everything, just and the pain,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and again, it's something that we could have prevented or at least lessened or mitigated, or because we have a tool that can do that. So,
No,
but
that's
it's
and I'm surprised a lot of dentists eh, don't at least explore some level of hypnosis, and I'm sure that when they go through their training and schooling and stuff like that, that there's a part of like speak in a soothing voice and reassure your patient, and there's an aspect of that. You know, the last thing that you want to hear is, you know, mid procedure they go, "Oops," especially after you hear like a god awful sound. But you know, it's you know, with braces, like I've had hey, we're putting rubber bands and stuff on, and something snaps and goes flying out of your mouth, and they're like, "Oh, that went across the room." And all right, grab another one. And but no, we got just an awesome guest tonight.
We do, and
I'm excited.
There is a lot we can say about our guest. He is a television icon. He has been on more talk shows than I can count, including talk shows like Montel Williams and the Ricky Lake Show.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on other networks with other series, not just not just a guest spot. He has traveled the world teaching hypnosis, showing people the power that they actually have in their minds. And most recently, of course, he was very gracious with his time and was able to share a lot of his tips and tricks. And I know Tommy last week had referred to them, but able to share tips and tricks and processes and everything that he has learned for the years that he has been doing hypnosis, traveling the world, speaking out and showing people that there's more to your mind than you think. There's more to your mind than maybe you feel, and there's more to your mind than you may know. So, with that in mind, we are going to welcome to the broadcast Mr. Tom Silver. And there is the man.
Hey, so you guys have finally brought me on. After all the surgeries, the pain, everything else.
Where did Brian go?
Consultations and getting the online sites to function. You know, we got to be more excited about what we do, you guys. We're not here telling the news or talking about the weather as a meteorologist. We're here talking about the excitement of hypnosis. Amp it up, you two. Amp it up. Make it happen. You know,
here.
You know, and I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk real. Is our co-host Brian leave? Did I scare him?
Somewhere along the way, he got booted. Or...
Didn't mean to scare you, Brian. But the bottom line is,
can you guys hear me at all?
Yes, we can hear you, Brian.
Okay, something went wrong with my camera. I'm gonna jump back out, and it says it's being used by another program. So let me just clear everything out, and I'll be right back with you guys.
Sounds good.
You gotta get it right. TV is accurate. You don't do TV right, bro, you don't get back on. So here's the thing. You know, I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm not going to just be this warm, fluffy guy and, everything's great and hypnosis is wonderful. Most people are learning hypnosis incorrectly. Most people don't even have a private practice like I have for 40 years. And it seems like right now, the whole key is being on kind of like a video platform. Everyone's got a podcast. There's seminars, there's conventions, there's all this stuff. But whatever happened to people working in the field, man? Whatever happened to fine-tuning your skills, getting good at what you do, not talking the talk, but really getting good at what you do as an expert, scientific or medical or psychological, whatever, hypnotist, hypnotherapist. And I think it's about time. I mean, look, guys, there's not many people watching. Why? Because people don't seem to care. The hypnotists don't seem to care the way they should. I'm telling you like it is, whether you guys like me or not. You know, they'll go to the conventions, HypnoCon's full of thousands of people, everyone hobnobbing. Hey, man. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Tom. So, but the bottom line is, when are we going to really get serious about the advancement of hypnosis? Now you use the word, or Tommy V used the word tricks. I don't do tricks. I'm not an elephant standing on my head doing a trick. I don't teach tricks. I teach methods, processes, techniques, technology, and hypnosis when I teach it. And you're absolutely right, Shawn and Brian. I love you guys. I'm so glad to be here. You are the future. Remember that you're the future, but we need to seize the day and get really good at what we do, understand what we do scientifically. Look, let me give you an example. I made a lasagna. Look at this lasagna. Let me show you this. I just made it. So you see that's lasagna?
Mm-hmm.
I took my time to make sure it was done correctly. And I think the more that we work on working with clients and people and going out there and talking about hypnosis versus, me putting a YouTube video out. I did all that. I stopped all those YouTube videos. It's not important. What's important is that we work together as a team. What's important is that we promote each other, work with each other, and we teach and educate and re-educate the general public that hypnosis is one of the most therapeutic, successful sciences on earth.
I just had that conversation in a school with people that I know. I've said, yeah, I do, I am a hypnotist. I do client sessions as well as shows. And they said, "Oh, really? Well, what can you do with that?" And I said, and I'm thinking to myself, "No, I told you guys this like last year when you asked the same question, and it seems like people need to hear things like 30 times before they finally get it."
Right, but now let's talk about hypnotist apathy. Come on, let's just do it. Let's just not fluff everything up. Why?
Okay.
When you have good people, Shawn Michael, Phillips or something coming on next week?
Yeah, Shawn Michael Andrews, yep.
Shawn Michael Andrews, come on, a legend, dude. You got these people coming on that are icons, and what are they coming on to the podcast when no one's going to really listen, or you repeat it and a few people watch it? The people in hypnosis need to understand that the ones that have done it, created it, walked the walk, and have lived it are the ones you want to learn from. Shawn Michael is, man, the guy's amazing. I saw him, I met him, I made friends with him. But the bottom line is, how do we get rid of this apathy? How do we get rid of the fact that, I'm a hypnotist, but during the week I work in a library and I shelve books or something else? What can we do? What can you guys do? You're on a video platform. What can you do to amplify the desire of the people who spend the money to learn the practice, to get out there in the field and change people's lives? Brian, what could you do?
I mean, my first thing is getting out on stage, and I think right now right now I'm doing what I can with what I have, as far as my abilities and stuff like that. If I could go jump out on stage every day and change the world and make it a better place, I absolutely could. Right now I'm just, in complete transparency with everybody, is I'm starting out as far as a stage career, and I'm also litigating a car accident claim, so my hands are a little full.
You've got a lot on your plate, and I
just got done fighting the VA for disability claims. So
let's get down to the grassroots.
Well, yeah,
the biggest confusion in hypnosis. Hey, sleep. No, I'm not hypnotizing. The biggest confusion in hypnosis is stage and therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a medical doctor going into a surgery room and telling her, hey, Suzanne, I'm trying to call the wife. Let me get these done. Get out of here. So, but what I'm saying is, how do we separate both the art and science so people will understand that it could be used for medical, emotional habits, everything else besides someone getting on stage and dancing like a ballerina? This has been the dichotomy or the incongruency of the science for many years. But we need to explain that to people. We need to educate people like that. Because when they see a stage show, And believe me, I've done hundreds, thousands, I don't know, whatever. I've done a lot of them. I go out there and I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm not Casanova. I'm not going out, hey everybody, how you doing today? I'm Tom Silver. I'm a hypnotherapist. I change people's lives. We're going to show some imagination, creativity, but if you can create imagination, you can also create the imagination and the reality that your life is going to change right now. See that?
Mm-hmm.
You tie it in. So when we really think about this,
now you're real quick, you're communicating that during the opening monologue in the introduction.
I communicate that, and I talk about what I use it for, because I'm just not there as a little entertainer. I turned down the candid camera bit on Montel Williams. He wanted me back on to be the new Alan Funt and do a candid camera thing. He wasn't going to allow me to show and educate hypnotherapy, so I turned it down. When do we get to the point where we realize that art and science is engaged in every medical, psychological, psychiatric, healing, coaching process?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Because being a surgeon, neurosurgeon, brain surgeon, whatever, you have to have an artistic skill and you have to know the science. So getting back to my question, why? And I've been on, I was on a call today with some really great hypnotists around the world and stuff. And it's just the same people coming on. How do you get these people that are all being certified every day, everywhere? How do you get them to further their knowledge and education and understanding by learning from the people who've walked the walk? What do you guys say? I'm just curious.
I'm trying to, I guess, digest the question a little bit. Is it because I know that the people who have been there, done that, and have the knowledge, skills, and abilities, people like yourself, is one is, I think a lot of people who are just coming in, I think like I was looking at what is it going to take for Washington State, where I live, to become a certified hypnotherapist. And the rules and the laws and the requirements and everything are so vague. It just basically says that you've received training somewhere from somebody, or you belong to such and such an organization. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, where have I met that benchmark? And then someone says, come do my training. You see advertisement online, or it's however they do their search engine optimization to appear in a Google search results. And you're kind of like, okay, well, does this person offer what I need? And like I said, there's a lot of ambiguity out there.
Totally. And there's a lot of different various training curriculums and educations, and back ending to more maybe education or not education. And the bottom line is, though, when I learned hypnosis, I'll clean the pans and everything, okay? When I learned hypnosis, I learned from people that were in the field for 20, 30 years. I learned from John Kappas, Alex Kappas. I knew John, Klein from Omni, Gil Boyne, Orman McGill. I wanted to get the essence of these people who have been in the field making things happen for a long time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those people are gone. A lot of those people, unfortunately, are gone. Now, if I wanted to learn Ericksonian hypnosis, by golly, if it was in the 1950s or early 60s, I'd be tracking down Milton Erickson and I'd be right there with him. Because I don't want to learn how someone teaches Ericksonian hypnosis. I want to learn how Erickson did his hypnosis.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to learn how to teach it. I want to learn how to do it.
Right, but I want to learn how to do it from somebody who has kept it as pure as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I got a buddy of mine. This is a good topic. I'm glad we're here. I'm not talking about the things I did and everything. I've had a wonderful life. Some of I'm dealing with advanced cancer. I've done everything. I've accomplished everything in the field of hypnotism and really worked with thousands of people. And I'm thrilled that I just had the 24/7 desire to create, learn, test, refine, and to advance. And everyone has that ability if you're motivated enough, you know.
Because I'm hearing you say that you feel like you've had a very, very, what I could even begin to imagine is a super rewarding career and
Totally.
fulfilling, where you're like, I have, whether it's I've entertained people, or with each show there's, you know, one or two people in the audience at minimum that I sparked a little bit of curiosity that they want to go and quit smoking, lose the weight, eat better, and that little act has now sparked action in other people, which has now motivated others, and you've really touched so many people's lives.
Yeah,
And it's a powerful tool.
And I've had a chance for 10 years, or 9 years, sorry, to teach medical doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists and professors and teachers in China scientific hypnosis.
Wow, that's got to be.
Yeah, and through an interpreter in a foreign language. And I worked for the Taiwan Department of Defense in criminal investigation, hypnosis to gather information, to gather evidence in the biggest crime in Taiwan and French history, hypnotizing witnesses, people of interest, retired procurement officers, and imprisoned procurement officers, and received the gold plate of honor from the Taiwan Department of Defense in '97. I'm not boasting about it.
How is your life not a movie?
Well, I don't know. But all I know is that, you know, I've had an opportunity to have a fulfilled life. And if I can do it, everyone there who has learned hypnosis, studied hypnosis, can have a fulfilled life in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
The joy it brings to others, the joy it brings to you, the freedom where people can let go and explore their creativity and have a little fun and lighten up and remove some of their stress or their negative autosuggestive patterns. The fact that it could be utilized in a very reasonable amount of time or quick amount of time to remove fear and phobic anxiety and addictions and other different chemical or psychological or triggered or physiological different challenges. I mean, this is a beautiful science. You know?
Tom, if you'll indulge me, will you?
Yes, sir.
Can we jump into the Wayback Machine?
Yeah, let's go.
To when it all started. Like, how did you trip, stumble, fall? What piqued your interest and said, okay, I'm going to go into either the hypnosis field, whether it was on the entertainment side or the therapy side?
Well, what happened is I had childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. My nephew, who was my best friend, I suggested we're at the Pomona Fair in California, that we hop on this moving people car, beat my brother and mother back to the car. So I said, let's go do it. He accepted that suggestion. We ran towards it. The people mover had people all like in an oval shape, and then a little chain link, and another car oval shape, another chain link, and a little truck. Anyway,
kind of like a little trolley type system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like sometimes, like a trolley. Perfect. So I ran to jump, but the thing was full. And I stopped. I don't know why I stopped. My nephew ran and jumped right where the links connect. I saw him. He dropped down underneath, and he was dragged and squished and killed to death in front of me. I was yelling and screaming for the thing to stop and crying, and it wouldn't stop. Finally stopped. When they all got off it and they lifted that cart up, he was shivering in a pool of blood.
Oh God, yikes!
I couldn't talk about it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say his name, Skipper, for 20 years. I blamed myself. Extreme guilt. I'm the one that told him to do it. You know, survivors. You can call survivor's guilt like.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. My parents didn't talk about it because back in those days,
you just didn't
discuss that stuff. Let's just take the dust, lift up the carpet, and let's put it under there. You know, and it was horrible. I lived with that for years, and I believe later on in life that was the catalyst for me wanting to teach people and help people and train people to and educate people that we don't have to be tormented by these traumas of our past. I believe that was the main reason, I really truly do, that I was introduced to hypnotism.
And what was the introduction to hypnotism?
Well, this was interesting. I was working in the record business,
Mm-hmm.
and and I went to college, got a bachelor's degree and stuff. So I lose a job in the record business as a marketing director. My brother Tracy tells me that, I don't know how he found it. He said there's an opening for a cameraman at a school called the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. And he says it's run by John Kappas, who's married to Florence Henderson, the actress. And so
good people to know.
Yeah. He said, if you're interested, I can get you on the camera for $10 an hour credit. And after a year, you'll earn enough money to go through the program. And I said, yeah. All of a sudden, a filament sparked up, All of a sudden, that light bulb just, boom, illuminated. Wow. I was always interested in hypnosis.
And then being behind the camera while they're doing all that stuff, you get to take it all in.
I'm on the side of the stage. John Kappas, Alex Kappas's brother, Bud Janowitz, Elizabeth Thompson, George Kappas, all these really good people were doing case histories, doing live sessions, and I'm tuned in. I'm watching them through this camera, and I'm fixated. I mean, it's just downloading, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. And
you're just like a sponge, like just try to soak up as much as you can.
It was a sponge. It was so exciting, and at the same time, it was also freeing me up from my trauma in its own way. In its own way, I was being affected by these positive words or suggestions or whatever you want to call them, affirmations.
Was it almost like with each day, each hour, each evolution of what they were doing, you're like, okay, that light at the end of the tunnel is getting bigger and bigger. Like there's the end of it, like there's hope.
Bigger. It's like this gigantic ball of knowledge being thrown to me. But I'm not the one. I'm just observing it. But I'm not observing it. I am receiving it. I'm receptive to it. So that went on for a year. $10 an hour credit. Back then, and I just hung around that place. They were in Van Nuys back then. And after a year, I earned enough credits. It was like $1,800 back then. To go.
Van Nuys is like the Hollywood-ish area where they were doing a lot of film and TV production.
Yeah, in Southern California. Yeah, they've been in Tarzana for many years. But the bottom line is, after that, I got to go through a whole year course of training, and see the same people again.
Right.
Force it again, digest it, embed it. You're
like, this is all familiar.
Yeah, and
your learning curve wasn't terribly steep.
It was wonderful. It was presented to me, and I was absorbing it because I was open, receptive, and I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn from these people. Really did. Then I was sincere. And then, so then after I went through the year training, I opened up my private practice right there in their clinic at HMI for about 3 or 4 years. I had an office there. Then I was developing and advancing new methods. I remember I started off doing hypnotherapy, and then I went into demonstrational or stage hypnosis. And I would watch Orman McGill and other stage hypnotists. I'll never forget my second show I ever did. George Kappas came to the venue with me to videotape it. And I did a little demonstration that flopped big time.
Right.
Oh my God. Did I feel, an inch, a micro inch tall.
You're just like crickets.
Oh man. Yeah. But I went on and continued and did it. And then I remember George Kappas said something like, well, maybe after about 50 or 60 of these things, you will start to feel more natural doing it. And I think the fact is I've always been excited when I start, before I start. I don't say stressed. I don't say anxious, even with hypnotherapy. I want to have this positive attitude that, you just got energy
circulating through you. You're like,
yes, sir.
All right. I just want to get, like, you just get hyped up.
Yeah. And the demonstration was I had a lady bite into an apple, and I told her it was a onion.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
she
yeah.
bites into it. I said, "So what's it taste like?" She goes, "An apple," and everyone laughed at me. See, I could have said, "No, no more." My ego just got shattered. I thought I was better than this, but I didn't. I just continued on the path. And sometimes we have ups and downs. Sometimes business is great, sometimes it's not. But the fact is, if you really love what you do, hypnotists out there, if you
Mhm.
really love the science, embrace it. I won't say marry it, but embrace it, live it, put it into your DNA, into your soul, into yourself. Become the best you can be, and you will have an amazing life. And at the same time, the byproduct is saving people's lives. How
Uh,
much
t-
better, how much
t-
better is that?
Now, tell me about like one of your first like successes with hypnosis. Where was it? Hey, I got a decent paying gig for a large audience, or I tried
Okay,
a bit that just knocked it out of the park and crushed
here
it.
you go. One thing leads to another. Remember that,
Mhm.
everyone. One thing leads to another. Do we put tin foil over it? Did you put it in the oven yet? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm
No, no,
micromanaging.
you're okay.
I've got lasagna that I'm putting in the oven soon. So the thing was, I got a guy call me. His name's Tom Moran. I remember his name. This is
Mhm.
my early days. Tom had an eating disorder. As a child, him and his brother were fed like hamburgers and hot dogs and beans, while his parents ate steak and fish and all this other stuff. They fed them a different type of food.
Right.
And it created a lot of frustration in him, a lot of anxiety in him.
Mhm.
And it turned out to create a lot of future binging in him. So
Okay.
consequently, when he was able to leave the control of the family and the food deprivation, because apparently he thought that, well, why can't we eat the same food our parents are eating? He went out and he rewarded himself with every kind of food you can imagine that he wasn't able to eat.
He just went straight bonkers, and
Straightforward,
18 years
straightforward.
old just blew up and.
He became the buffet man.
Mhm.
And he blew up, and he was a salesman selling radio advertising at KROQ radio in Burbank, California.
Yeah.
So he calls me. I put maybe an ad out or whatever. I'm not sure how he contacted me. Back in those days, we used to try the yellow pages. Can you believe that,
Mhm.
folks?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember those days.
I spent $3,000 with no call in 1 year on the yellow pages.
Oof.
Yeah, people don't read magazines anymore. Well, they do. Some do.
Mm.
So he calls me. He comes into my office. I work with him 2 or 3 times. I remove this. We're going to call it a subconscious resentment.
Mhm.
This thing he had for his parents, against his parents. His whole eating habits changed. We fine tuned everything that he wanted to do, which was relating to positive eating habits and exercise, positive physical dynamic activity. We fine tuned the goals so he could
So
take doable steps to achieve the goals. Let me continue now.
oh, yeah, yeah. I just had
So,
a question when you're done.
so all that worked great. Then all of a sudden, a few months later, I get a call from him. Hey, Tom, it's Tom Moran. Listen, I'm getting you on a morning talk show, the Kevin and Bean Morning Show.
Mhm.
I want you to come on there because you helped me so much, and they're going to let you come on the show. So I said, okay. He told me the time, 6 a.m. or whatever day. I'm driving in. I turn on the radio. I put on the Kevin and Bean, and there they are laughing and joking about hypnosis and this quack that's going to be coming in and going to be trying to hypnotize people. And he's probably just a fake, a phony, a magician. I'm listening to that as
Oh
I'm
God.
driving in. As I'm driving in.
Just makes you want to turn around and be like, you know what? I'm not a clown show. Like these guys can go pack
You know,
sand.
boom, take the knife. Boom. So anyway, I went on the show, talked about hypnosis, showed some positive demonstrations, educated them, and a little bit of entertainment.
Mhm,
Next
mhm.
thing you know, I am the Kevin Bean K Rock hypnotist on at least 4 or 5 times a year for 10 years. Hypnotizing
Oh,
Anna Viola.
that's the least they can do for.
Yeah. What's his name? Jimmy Kimmel, doing all these things.
Yeah.
Everything from removing fears and phobias to regression therapy to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I made them believers. But that's because I could explain it to them where they would, understand that it is a legitimate science. I think that's important. But and then that show, I get a call from Bruce Nash, TV producer. Next thing you know, I'm meeting the ABC executive producer, Ted Harbert, and I'm meeting in Les Moonves, CBS producer's penthouse. I'm hypnotizing Ted Harbert, and I'm selling a TV show, a reality TV show, what we might call a street hypnosis reality TV show called Hypnotized. And we put it together in 1 month, and it aired in like August of 1998 on CBS television. And that came from the radio show.
It's funny how life works.
But one thing leads to another.
Yeah. That's why whenever you do something a little different, be open for the possibilities of other things, coming from that. I mean, it's beautiful.
Well, it's how Jim and I met, is because I just got to a point in life where I went, okay, I am not going to adult for anything. Jumped on meetup.com and looked for hypnosis, and a lady had an event at her condo, 15 minutes away from my house. And that's where I got introduced to Jim. And it turned into, can you make me a t-shirt? I want to, I kind of opened up about some of the struggles that I was having from what later turned out to be undiagnosed PTSD. And that just turned into, hey, now we're going to go meet up with Justin James to do, his training in downtown Seattle, which introduced me to a handful of people, which formed a friendship with Jim and myself and a bunch of other people. And then, we were at Performing Hypnosis Summit, and I'm sitting there going, God, I'm on the top of Mandalay Bay with some just awesome people overlooking Las Vegas on the Strip going, how did I even get here?
You know how awesome that summit was in January in Las Vegas?
Oh God.
I got to meet, I'm serious, I got to meet some of the real top people in the field who are kind, loving, sharing, and really amazing. And I got to meet a lot of people coming in, maybe for their first time or starting to connect with these people. And it was beautiful. It was the most beautiful event and true connection of people coming together and true education that I have really experienced, with no motive except teaching people to be the best that they could and open up new ideas and new technologies and new tools. I loved it. I got to meet the top of the top from around the world.
Oh yeah. And I think actually for a quick second, going back to having Tommy on last week, he was like, I think he clarified, he was like, Tom says he does not do tricks. He goes, other people will do it, but he goes, Tom completely differentiates it and said, it's not a trick. It's science. There's a method to the madness. There's a bunch of studies and stuff to back it up. And people who don't want to believe, okay, fine. It's like gravity. You don't have to believe in it, but it's still there.
Exactly. And when you think about the phenomenon of hypnosis, what we can call the altered state of consciousness, which is really based on neurological brainwave frequencies and activity changes, it's hard for people to comprehend the true abilities that could be created with hypnosis. It's really difficult for people to realize that. And even though people don't realize that they're constantly losing consciousness, they're constantly going in and out of amnesia states and putting their keys down, can't find their phone, have distracted minds, have limited focused concentration.
God, you described half my first marriage.
and hypnosis can benefit in all those areas. So the science of hypnosis is really very, very profound, very real, and can be utilized for so many advances. I have documents from every major university around the world that has done tests and post-hypnotic suggestions from medical to biochemically to psychologically and everything else, and the success rates of the process are very, very high. Very high, where the universities and the hospitals, Cambridge, Stanford, have validated the therapeutic successes of hypnosis. So why can't people understand that?
Well, I'll be the first one to share with anybody. I mean, with anything, your mileage is going to vary, but with me, the VA is very, very good at supporting big pharma. They will,
Yeah.
Oh, you've got some pinched nerves. Here's opiates. You're having difficulty concentrating. Here's Adderall with legalized speed. Antidepressants make you more depressed, and anti-anxieties throw your anxiety through the roof. But they don't want to get to they'll treat the symptoms, but they won't solve the problem.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't until I ran into Jim, who he wanted to work with me, and then I kind of told the quick story with Dan Hedrick, who said, "Here, you come down to my place. We're going to do like a 1 day, just super huge, intensive thing." And I remember calling him. I was kind of it was happy, but it was very emotional because it was significant to me. I was like, Dan, I've been off all of my meds for 10 days.
Right.
Because great, they give you a medication. There's a side effect. Now we need another medication, which causes 2 more side effects. And, you just chase down that rabbit hole. And I was like, I am free from all that. And noticing how different things in my life come up and go, here's how we just tweaked and adjusted and fine-tuned that response to a specific stimulus, which for all intents and purposes has likely kept me out of jail.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to coach other people through it. And when I say coach, I'm just there as a friend going like, hey, this is how, you shift your mindset and focus. And I'm doing that right now with a friend of mine with some family law stuff, and hearing just the gratitude. And they're like, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And I'm like, I do know, because I was in your shoes wearing those things and carrying all that baggage, and it's effing heavy. But so it sounds like you jumped right from hypnotherapy. There was a happy little accident with a radio show that kind of threw you right into full-blown full-time performing.
Agent contacts me, wants me to bring hypnosis to Taiwan in 1994, be the first hypnotist in Asia. And I had to crack a code of translingual hypnosis. I made it sound really, really medical. Interlingual hypnotic transinduction. Translingual.
But what does that loosely translate to? I said sleep and they went night night, and then we did the funny.
Right. But I was doing therapy and lectures for the Police Academy, Buddhist Association, for businesses, and so
touch on the lectures with law enforcement. I'm assuming that's law enforcement first responders.
I actually did a training, a lecture at the Police Academy in Taipei, Taiwan, back in 1995. And then one of the young cadets did a whole thesis, his final thesis on hypnosis and criminal investigation, which was real exciting.
So your lecture was more on the investigatory use
in that respect. Remember, I do a lot of things in the field of hypnosis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's a lot of different things in different types of foods. And so when I'm, so I had lectured on that. And then when I was asked to work on a government weapons scandal in 95, I turned it down because it was a little too dangerous for me. And I didn't know what to do. No one trained me in it. Tell me all hypnosis is self-hypnosis or nothing can go wrong, in some of the classes.
Right.
Everyone's always in control, whatever these trainers tell you. But then in 1996, I got called from the Department of Defense again. They flew out to meet me. Colonel, my agent. I mean, Colonel and my interpreter. And I decided to go back in January of 1997 to, to create a method. John Kappa says you can't hypnotize people against their will, or prisoners or whatever. George said that. But how do they know? Have you ever had someone come in that is, um, 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 what do we call it? In prison?
I was going to say that they're not really exactly consenting to it.
They are not consenting to it. But guess what? They also have physical and psychological traumas from being in those situations.
So this is like taking investigative hypnosis to a whole nother level where now you're trying to forcibly extract information.
No, I'm not trying to force anything out of them.
Oh, okay. Help me understand the context.
I am creating a calm, comfortable state of enhanced memory in a lower state of consciousness. So it's not the thought mind thinking, confabulating, making it up, embellishing, exaggerating. I'm taking them through the process so they have a clearer picture and vision of an event that occurred during 3 days in December of 1993. At the same time, I am working with them on a different level to remove the traumas that they've been experienced in these military confinement areas with physical abuse, psychological abuse, and everything else.
Oh, okay. So this is with U.S. forces helping them cope, and
no, this is with me. Help,
okay.
Not U.S. forces. I was invited through the Taiwan military and government.
Okay. I heard you say Department of Defense, and I thought I just went right default to American.
Taiwan DOD.
No, that's my fault.
And the head of the Secret Service, and head of counterintelligence, and the head of technology for the government, and the head of police. So it was, so I was fortunate enough to create some methods through testing and trying techniques. And out of everyone I worked with, the information we gathered, which was accurate, was over 61%. That is huge.
God, that's better odds than you're going to get in Vegas. I mean, you go say, I'll take 61% at the table games. You're going to get your own airplane.
Now, the other thing, some of those people have been released and have a great quality of life because the information that was elicited under that receptive state we call hypnosis proved their innocence. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Talk about something good.
God, there's so many uses that could be used for.
Yeah. But isn't that interesting stuff that I got to experience?
Yeah, now I'm not going to be able to sleep because like all the wheels are going to be spinning. I'm like,
we will go round and round.
Well, but it speaks to the one thing leading to another, right? And we all have, all three of us have Jim stories. There's no question. Jim and I would have first met, I think through TikTok, actually, because you saw one of my videos. My very first video blew up when there was like 12 of us on TikTok, and I got 16,000 views or something like that. Nice. He says, there's a business group that you should come and meet with. And so that led me to Hypno Hustle with Scott King and Lisa Kunschik and, Colin Chapman and some of the other presenters that were at Hypnothoughts. So now I have this group of people that all of a sudden I can start talking to about all these questions that I've had. And prior to that, unless it was on YouTube, so thank you, Tom, for posting on YouTube back in the day, because that was sustaining for me. And I'd say the same thing about Anthony Gailey and his stuff on and Jim Zellis. Those guys when they were there, and to a certain extent, I think Deanna had some things, and there were a few others, but that core group of people that started putting stuff on the internet, that was the piece that I was able to dig into while I was at university, and then taking off, of course, into the psychology section of the library instead of the education library, where I probably should have been as a teacher, but who needs to learn how to teach, right? Uh, but it was the interest, it was the passion, and all the books that probably hadn't been touched in a long time. Orman McGill, the Kappas brothers, just all this rich information that I was able to take in and kickstarted the journey. But it also came about because there was a desire there. It came from it is what the Sci-Fi Channel says, right, or is this something else? And it started with a question.
Well, there you go. And the cool thing, because I'm like one of the old guys now, 72. I got to hang with some of those guys. And I still get to hang with great guys. And I get to hang with you, Brian. I get to hang with you, Shawn. What an honor, man. What a privilege. And I want to thank you for having me on here. Thank you.
No, absolutely. As Kevin Lapine says, his success is a result of him being able to stand on the shoulders of giants. And you are definitely one of those giants that the next generation, if you will, is going to stand on. And your generosity it means more. I don't have the ability to articulate how much your generosity has impacted me. I was just, and to touch on what Shawn was saying about you posting on YouTube years back, I remember just watching one of your performances in San Diego, where they having the people up on stage, and I'm like, all right, I'm picking and dissecting every little bit of how you do things, the language that you use, the verbiage, how you're presenting it, how to manage people on stage, because I think San Diego had a couple of things you were like, that did not go as expected.
Exactly.
And like the lady takes the microphone out of your hand and you're like, no, get back on stage. Come here.
The one who hit it under here because my flute playing.
Yeah. She was like, no, you're not gonna do this. And stuffs it in her shirt and just curls up in the fetal position. And you're like, I'm watching the wheels just spin in your head going like, oh shit, how do I get out of this?
I go, where's my microphone? She's like this. I don't know. It's like, I mean, think of the joy that we have really in our field. The joy of bringing happiness to others, the joy of tapping into, creativity that maybe people don't even know they have. I once had a woman at a police show who danced the ballet, and she was a ballerina. And her mother came up to me crying, said she could never afford ballet lessons for her daughter, but she can dance like a ballerina. I mean,
and you were just like, now I got to see my daughter perform on stage and help my daughter realize it's like, okay, here's a little bucket list checkbox.
Yeah, the lady's guilt was gone. The lady who was the ballerina says, I can dance, and she found something. She found a hidden ability that came out through hypnosis. So think about it. I mean, we're in a fantastic field. Remember, if anyone's listening to this, and I know a few of you are, don't ever say something can't be done. Get out there, fine tune it, test it, perfect it, crack a code, and create a new technology to advance your expertise in hypnosis. I'm going to leave you guys with that.
Well, and before I forget, it's 6:30 West Coast time right now, so it is 00:30 in England. And I had a conversation with Grant Saunders earlier today, and we were going over some stuff, and he was like, "Please be sure to relay my best and regards to Tom, and how much Grant appreciates you coming out and just keeping in contact with him." And he's like, "I'm not ignoring you. There's the time difference." He did tell on you that you called him at like 3:00 in the morning his time.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, tough love now.
Yeah,
but I was so honored to come to the Las Vegas Summit, and if anyone ever gets an opportunity, go there next year. I mean, it's the best trainings, the best people.
Well, we expect you to be here in
Oh, good.
26.
Well, I live here in Edmonton. I can drive. I'm 20 minutes away now.
Oh, I think Joe Beth had you on and did an interview with you, and you were kind of showcasing some of the stuff that was going to be there, and people were like, "Oh my God, I am absolutely 100% like tickets bought right now," and just the amount you cannot put a price tag on just your presentation and everything that you offered after that. And I still need to send you another email to get some of those other documents and stuff. But Nora,
okay, this next year I'm going to teach the art and science of conducting hypnosis on radio and television.
Nice.
Love it. Okay, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah, when I was doing radio shows, I was seeing 15 clients a day.
Oh man,
yeah,
not a bad problem to have.
I'm going to teach the art and science of gaining the best exposure you can ever have, creating a wonderful income in therapy, hypnotherapy, and at the same time increasing your artistical skills in creative hypnosis demonstrations.
And Tom, now that I see Nora pop up on here, Nora is one of the people who volunteered to work with me and was super helpful in kind of shaping the person that I am right now. So whether she's awesome work for her or maybe she's at fault, a little of column A, a little of column B, but definitely wanted to give her some credit.
Hi, Nora. And I saw Amanda come on. Hi, Amanda. All right. Well, I'm sure glad to spend some time with both of you. You are fantastic people. You have this passion for hypnosis, and I love the way that you present yourselves, and your format on this podcast is so valuable for people to tune in. Thank you.
And Tom, I know we had planned on doing a kind of a demonstration with the hypnosis stuff for my dental stuff that was coming up. And if I wasn't, I did want to thank you for your gracious offer, but if it wasn't for the fact that they were just going to poke me with an IV, give me some meds, and just have me go night, all the hard work is done by, I just have to lay there and be Jim Kellner and look pretty.
Yeah. Who needs me when you got the doctor of medicine?
Hey, I was going to say, I got the bartender and Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah. Oh, the grandkids are here for the lasagna dinner. Perfect.
Oh, fantastic.
Hey, man, I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
I love you too, Tom. Have a good one, and please give our best to everybody else.
I sure will. Thank you again for everything.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
so while we have a moment here, Brian, before we check out, we should probably share this. I was
going to say when little voices come into the background, it's like, all right, he's going from hypnosis professional to grandpa.
Yep. And
317 days.
There's not that many left, really.
I was going to say we're gonna blink, turn around, and go, oh my God, it's Christmas. And Amanda, yes, absolute legend.
Yeah, and that's why I know for sure he's won at least one award in his lifetime. He was presented with the Legend Award at the Performing Hypnosis Summit this past year. Graciously, he donated it and to Jim in honor of Jim. So
yeah, that was super classy. Total class act of him to give that to Jim's wife. I know that meant a lot, and there was just so much support, for her, and I think for all of us that were attending, even the folks that are like, oh, I met him through social media or something like that. It's, like, I wish I got to know him more. I was, this was the first time I was going to meet him in person. I was looking forward to it, but everybody who knew him that was there, it was super therapeutic. And I mean, I'm going to selfishly speak for myself there, but I wouldn't feel like I was stepping on any toes on saying that a lot of people didn't feel the same way.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. I think the thing about Tom is you have this gentleman who has, I'm going to say at least almost 50 years of experience. It's 50 years of wisdom.
He's been doing, I mean, if it's 50 years, I mean, even if it's 40 years, he's been doing hypnosis longer than I've been alive.
The only shortcut to success is wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And what Tom, I don't want to say preached because it makes it sound like church, but what he taught on this year, and now what he's just announced that he's going to teach at PHS next year. If you don't get business from that, I would be mildly amazed. I really, really would. It is years of knowledge, not tricks, methods, and procedures. Guess what? Methods and procedures. I just thought of it. It's a map. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's the acronym. He's got the map that you can follow to jump in to do some of the things that he's done.
And Tom doesn't do presentations. Tom does just straight knowledge
straight up teaching. Yeah, this is how I did it. And that's one of those things that you appreciate about him is that ability to just tell it like it is. Off the hop of the broadcast. Was he on us for not necessarily doing things right? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but he's telling it like it is.
I mean, each person who's doing stuff online is going to have their kind of their own method of how they do things and everything. And I'll kind of playfully joke that I'm like, God, for a second, I felt like I should just stand up and go stand in the corner. But I do know that I didn't hear the difference with Tom is I didn't hear anger and admonition. I heard a lot of passion, and here I'm giving you guys that nudge. Now, do we need to jump online and come out like we're just we had the highest caffeine content energy drink ever? Or is it, hey, we kind of need to get people back in the habit of, listening and things like that. And there's probably some things that we can tweak and change and things like that. But, you and I are also not like super huge names. And so it's going to kind of develop, over some time.
And that's exactly it. Like a good example of that was I was actually working from home 2 weeks ago. And hopped onto a meeting with a guy who we've got an educational technology organization that I chair, and he's the CFO for it. So we were talking about getting our AGM stuff together and getting ready for this big meeting, blah, 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 blah. And then he looked at the sign behind me, and hang on here and see if I can.
Yeah, I was going to put me away for a second.
There we go.
Yeah.
Which is really, I mean, all it is my banner, right?
Right.
And he says, "You're a hypnotist. We've been looking for a hypnotist to do our keynote speech on August 28th to our staff. Can you put in a proposal?" I can do that.
my proposal. I would like to do a keynote speech. The end. I'm qualified.
Exactly. He listed off 2 or 3 things that they had done in the past. And I said, "Yeah, I can touch on all of these." And I think the notion of exactly what Tom said, understanding the power of your own mind. Because you're capable of more than you think. You're capable of more than you feel. You're capable of more than, that it's just all there. And conveniently, it's the school division is the school division that, if it was in existence when I was around, would have been the one that I graduated from. In fact, it's the school, my high school, that I get to go back and visit 40 years later.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So yeah,
you're kind of like, I used to own these halls.
No. If there was a pecking order, I was second from the bottom.
I got shoved in that locker, and But no,
no. I was round enough that I didn't get shoved into lockers, but run over a few times. Yes, hit with a bat. Yeah.
oof.
Yeah, well, that was an accident, but and it was my friend. I got lots of stories. Actually, that was the second time that he did something like that to me. The first time was with my own hockey stick. He nicked my eye when he was going back for a
Oof.
slap shot. We were walking back to school after lunch, and
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
yeah, he nicked my eye so good that I took an ice ball because it was about
Right.
-35, and stuck it on my forehead to keep the swelling down and everything. When I got to the school, not realizing that all the blood had accumulated in the snow.
Yeah.
Teachers were just freaking out.
And then it's like begun to clot, and then you move it away,
Yeah.
pull the little clotting scab off, and then it just
Exactly. Yeah, and it
bleeds
was
like you've been shot.
again. Yeah, so they were debating whether or not to send me to the hospital. I think they sent me home after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was standing in behind home plate, and somebody threw an errant pitch, and my buddy decided to take a swing at it, and he swung, and his follow through caught me like
Oof.
right there.
Yeah, that's a bad day.
Yeah, that wasn't one of the better ones, but
yeah.
Anyway.
I one of the questions and kind of having had a number of conversations with Tom, he kind of has this timeline in his head, and then he'll be like, all right, okay, well, I'm done. We're gonna and I mean, he's always gracious about it.
Yeah.
But one of the questions that I'd hoped to have asked was to just ask him, like, when was your aha moment of like, this was the benchmark when I was like, all right, I hit it big, or I'm never going back to a day job. But I mean, right now with what you and I have the ability to do, we're starting to get stuff out there. We're going through some reps. We're getting used to talking online and bettering our interview skills, but also we're sharing our successes, and we're trying to give anybody else a platform to share their skills and showcase things, because you never know who you're going to trip and stumble, bump into, and go, hey, your stuff's really cool. Can you come do this at a certain venue? Yeah.
And that's how actually I met the gentleman that I'm doing my show on April the 4th with. It was actually, he was my AV rep. So when I was managing the tech department, Inland would send out Curtis, and Curtis would come, and one of the very first projects that he bid on was in COVID. And so we got talking back and forth. He mentioned he was a magician. I mentioned I was a hypnotist. He was on TikTok. Somebody swiped his account, which was kind of a bummer, but
they just hacked it and hijacked
hacked it and took it on him. And he had like 2,000 or 3,000 followers, so he was ready to go live and start doing things live and whatnot. But decided that instead of doing that, he would just play the game until COVID was done. And last year decided full-time magic. And he's got a whole production company. He's got musicians, other magicians, a few other types.
So he's helping book work for other people. And
so he's gone into it full time, and he's
it's a different form of multiple streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different form of multiple streams of income, where you're like, all right, other people are going to go out and do work, and I'll make insert percentage here.
Yeah,
but he's also providing the service.
Yeah, and I think the big thing that let's see if I can grab this link. The big thing that Curtis has been able to do is he's been able to get in front of enough fringe festivals and whatnot. Like his summers are completely booked. He's basically on the road from the middle of June until the middle of September, and then when he comes back, he's got a standing show in Regina at a place called Sleepy Hollow, which is conveniently like a major corn maze type of venue and it's all outdoors. So he does his magic act outdoors as people
Oh, wow.
cycle through So it's really cool. And then of course he's got a couple of other gigs that kind of keep him through the winter and whatnot. But the
Now the residency show, is that the one that you're performing at in April?
So we did this once before in Regina.
Okay.
And it worked like the show itself works really well. You get his show and then my show, or my show and then his show,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of a break in between. So you get 2 hours of entertainment for $25. That's a pretty good deal.
Oh, that's definitely value for money. And I mean, something like that, it's like, okay, if you're going to factor in people's travel costs and stuff to get there, and then per person, it's like, all right, you got a couple, it's going to be $50 just to walk through the door. I mean, 2 hours of entertainment, you're getting some pretty solid value for money.
Yeah.
And then with his magic show, does that kind of warm up the crowd? And
the last time that we did it, I went first.
Okay.
And that was fine because most of the group there was adults. This time, most of the group is going to be. I'm going to guess we're going to have a good selection of younger students. That are going to want to see the magic show.
Okay.
And so that one there, I think we might want to.
With kids, you are going to sit still.
Yeah,
be quiet.
We might want to flip it. So we'll see. But if you do want to be a guest on Hypnosis Hero, that is the link where you can book a time that works for you, and we will confirm with you the date and time that you book, and make sure that we have all your information.
Mm-hmm.
So that is there for anybody. We're going to start throwing it out to anybody. We still have a few people like Sean Michael Andrew, Victoria Gallagher is on after that. And we're still expecting a couple more people to book, but we thought we would get a jump on other bookings that people want to jump in as a hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
We are ready to go. So
yeah. So wrong mouse. So Nora says, "Good night, gentlemen." I don't know who she's talking to, Sean.
Yeah,
at least one of us.
That's a loose term here.
Yeah, it's not a negative term. But no, Nora, always a pleasure.
Right.
Always a pleasure to see you, and thank you to everybody who has joined us, and also thank you for everybody who is probably watching at a time that's more convenient in your time zone. And I know we can't reach everybody all of the time, but Becca's just joining us as we are wrapping up. So she's
that's okay. Maybe we should stick around and do just a little bit of hypnosis just for Becca.
It's just going to be you and I just snapping constantly and all that stuff. But no, that Becca, we're going to give you a pass. We know that it's super early in the morning, and I do know that you have to go to work today. But no, we hope that everything is going well over in England, Becca, and with both you and Grant.
Yeah, I don't think they've changed their clocks yet. So
no,
November 3rd.
Becca, throw in the comment section when you guys do your spring forward time change.
Yeah, I thought Grant said on the 30th, but I could
be
mistaken.
Yeah, I remember when we changed back. I think it was like November something. It was like, oh well, you guys. I think they changed before. I think they changed back before us, so there's a little bit of a few week gap that everything gets kind of wonky. But then we have. I know the United States, Arizona doesn't change. So sometimes they're an hour ahead. Sometimes they're the same time as West Coast. But no, it's like I was saying before. I'm looking forward to hearing how your show in April goes.
Yep, it will go splendidly because that's the only way that I'll do it. I'm looking. I have quite a few colleagues that have seen the posters now, and I'm starting to get them out into schools as I travel around. So they'll be up. There'll be lots of parents and kiddos saying
Mhm.
to their parents, "Hey, we need to buy a ticket. Take me to this." And we know also that hockey is wrapping up, so there won't be as much of that.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I'm going to say there's still a few leagues that are um, playing through some playoffs, quote
Mhm.
unquote, loosely.
Hashtag not the Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Well, I was in one of the schools today, elementary school, working with some grade 5 students, and
Mhm.
in their library, they were starting to build things in Minecraft. So I was getting them all set up and configure this, and yep, it's all good. So we got that going, and then I noticed the books that were on the table, and one of them said something about skating with Gordy on. And I'm
Oh
looking
yeah,
at it.
Gordie Howe.
Yeah, well, guess who used to play hockey with Gordie Howe?
You did.
My grandfather.
Oh, grandpa. Okay. I was like,
Yeah,
Shawn, you're aging just so eloquently.
I'm like fine wine, man.
Yeah.
In
Until I
fact,
get my teeth. Yep. I told my friend Dale out here. He's a former Marine and former sheriff's deputy and corrections officer, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm going in next week to get my, the first step of the restoration surgery. And he's like, okay, so what are they going to do with the rest of your face? And I was like, oh, that that hurts. So I tell everybody, I'm like, with the friends that I have, I don't need any enemies whatsoever.
exactly, but that's something that we would have said to you too. So,
Oh yeah, and that's why Grant got along with Dale and Roger and Brent and all those guys.
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
mean
no,
he fit right in. So
yeah, no. The what I was going to say was I was at the doctor's office on
mm,
Monday. Yes, Monday,
yeah.
and he started looking at all my stats and everything, and his cholesterol is down. For the third time in a row, your blood pressure is spot on. Your blood sugar levels are where they should be. He looked at me and he says, "I think your ex-wife made a mistake."
No, I went in just for your normal annual
Yeah,
checkup, and hey, with all the medical stuff, hey, we've got to ask if I can be your doctor again for another year. All the paperwork stuff,
yeah,
and he goes, oh, well, you got your blood pressure looks like it's pre-hypertension, and I was like, the nurse and I were just cutting up laughing in here, and then she slaps the cuff on my arm, and I was like, yeah, and then I had to, you check in online, and then you go to the office, and then they go, oh, checking in for this appointment. Oh no, you got to go back out to the main lobby and check in with them. So you go out there. No, you're at the information desk. You got to go to the desk behind us. Okay. Do you have your ID? Do you have it? Here, let me ask you all the questions that you just answered when you checked in online 30 minutes ago. And I hate our healthcare system.
well, we don't have quite as many questions, but if you walk in without your provincial health card,
Oh, they were like, have you
they'll question you. All right.
have you traveled outside the United States, and have you? And I'm sitting there like, God, you want a big brother? I'm like, what if I did interact with somebody who was French, or? And I'm like, I don't understand. Oh well, we would have asked you some. We just want to document it. I'm like, do you own any firearms? Nope, lost them all in a tragic boating accident this summer. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just like, I want to just come in here and, if I've got the sniffles, tell me that I've got the sniffles and why and what we're going to do about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week being done with all this stuff and looking normal again.
Yep, those hockey injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to play pond hockey in a little town called Floral, which is now been overtaken by Saskatoon at least 2 or 3 times over. But
Yeah.
there is a when you come to Saskatoon, you and Grant,
Mm-hmm.
there is a bronze statue of Gordie Howe along the riverbank. So,
Oh wow, and I'm trying to remember. Was Gordie Howe? I know he was big in the United States. Is he American or Canadian?
oh no, he's Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Most of those boys were Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there were a number of them from Saskatchewan, like in particular the New York Islanders of the late '70s, like the Dynasty. There were a number of them that came from Saskatchewan
Mm-hmm.
WHL teams.
Yeah. No. You know what we should do is find a good venue, and like you, me, and Grant just figure out how to do, it's like a 3-way hypnosis performance where it you
I'm
could
glad
almost
you didn't talk freeway.
I'm almost thinking like a Saturday Night Live thing where it's like, all right, look, we're just gonna go up there and see what happens, and I bet you like between the three of us it would almost be like, all right, I'm gonna do this skit just to see if we can break the other two, just to
Yeah.
get you guys laughing hysterically. But no, let's see. Becca
wants to know if you've been hit by a bat. No, that
well,
was me that was hit by a bat many years ago.
no, I messaged Becca. I think it was this morning, and so I went and part of the pain management stuff is massage therapy from just military injuries, and so massage therapist has just got his elbow just right in the glutes, right in one of your butt cheeks, and then he goes, okay, so I'm laying face down, and he is just the Rock, just a people's elbow, and he's like, okay, with your opposite leg, keep your leg straight and raise it up in the air behind you, and as soon as you do that, like you start working different muscles, and I'm like, oh, this hurts, and so like all of my lower back, it just felt like I got hit with a baseball bat, like right in the kidneys. I'm like, I am so sore that
Yeah.
yeah,
But once you get those,
my lower back was not happy last night.
yeah, once you get those knots and those things worked out, it generally feels better. I've always had a little bit of hesitation going to a chiropractor because of exactly that. It's one thing. It's when I had a friend who could do this. He could have played offensive like center for a CFL team at the very least, if not an NFL team.
Right.
Just a big guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he would go like this, and you would hear the vertebrae go all the way down, and then he would go like this, and then you'd hear the other side it click into place.
Oh yeah,
and not from a small distance away. Like he would do that. He would be behind the grill at McDonald's. I'd be on the other side of the counter with the food and the customers, and I could hear click click click, and just like, Martin, what the hell?
I mean, and a lot of it is your body just trying to go back into place. Like I can lay on my back and then just throw one leg over and really get a good stretch, and then it's like I try to twist my upper body the other way.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm reefing on anything. It's like, okay, I'm kind of twisting a little bit, and I'm like, okay, pop, there goes something in my lower back, or even with my neck, I can just kind of lay back and I can hear the clicking and things just moving around. But yeah, I mean, where the chiropractor,
that's how we know we've got really great microphones now, because the guys who do those recordings will clip a mic on, and then you'll hear exactly what I used to hear.
It's like
snapping in place, and crunching, and everything else. So,
but no, I would encourage you to go to a chiropractor. I mean, even if it's just for maintenance, just kind of.
Well, I figure I should be an inch taller. So.
Oh yeah, that's probably something with your pelvis is either tilted or tipped. And sometimes it's just moving things around. That's why they say, with maintenance, it'll get your spine back in alignment and take some pressure off of the joints. And if you've got 20 something vertebrae and you free up just a millimeter on each one of those, like there's your inch.
Yeah.
So
see, I'm not too far out to lunch on that. So
yeah, it's but
maybe I'll do that before I go to the doctor next time, and when they take my height, they're gonna go, what?
Yeah.
It's like asking, like, am I still 5'3"? Yeah, you're still 5'3". Well, that's good. I'm supposed to be 5'4". I know I was 5'4" at one time.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just go get one of those inversion tables and kind of hang upside down and just let your body, natural traction.
You do the Batman upside down.
Not entirely upside down. I'd probably go back about 45 degrees, and like all you're doing is just letting the weight of your body kind of hang, and it takes the tension off of those discs and allows them to kind of expand a little bit. Get the nutrients and blood flowing back through, and really it takes a lot of pressure off the nerves. So just letting your body kind of naturally reset. And you notice a lot of people, like after car accidents and stuff, they'll be like, I'm sore because you're trying to put things back where they should be, and your muscles are naturally wanting to guard against it. But no, that's I'd totally encourage you to do it. You just go completely loose and limp, just like in hypnosis, and just let Doc go click, click, click. And, they know what they're doing. So.
Yep. The problem is it takes about 3 or 4 months to get an appointment. Like your healthcare system, we're back. Well, I was supposed to get my eyes checked annually. And it's been a year and a half, and I finally got in on a cancellation. Otherwise it would have been another 6 months before I got my annual eye exam. So
it's like, okay, I just got checked out. Let's schedule next year's now.
Yep, did that. Very first thing they handed me was next year's appointment. So
yeah, and people go, a lot of people down in the United States are like, well, we should just go to a single universal health care. And I'm sitting there going, God, no, please, God, no. It
has some benefits, but it also has some drawbacks.
Well, I mean, when you work for the government and they're like, okay, well, we're the only player in town. Okay. Yeah. Who's your competition? You still get paid the same whether you do a lot of work or a little work. Whereas, your privatized care is going to, with the different insurance companies, which they're kind of a joke as well. But I mean, you go to, the VA contracts with community providers, and it's been a blessing. And for me, not to get political or anything, love them or hate them, Trump signed the Mission Act, which provided a lot of care within the community. So they'll, instead of going, I've got to drive 30 miles down to, south of Seattle to go to the VA hospital for care, or even, an hour and a half away to Tacoma, I can go to, the family care doctor down the street, or the chiropractor that's at the bottom of the hill, and they're contracted. So it's enabled me to get a lot of the care that I need. But going through the local systems, they're like, here, let's put in a referral real fast. Okay, tomorrow somebody's going to call you to schedule this follow-up appointment.
Yeah.
But, it's watching some stuff move at lightning speed that way is, you wish a lot of stuff could be like that. But
exactly.
No, Mark Barris, thanks for joining us. Good evening to you, sir.
Apparently, your Bill. I might be Ted after this.
Hey, we'll have an excellent adventure.
Exactly. There we go.
But
nice to see you, Mark. We're just wrapping up. Tom's already having lasagna with the grandkids, and it was a great interview. So if you get a chance to, and if anybody gets a chance to view it after the fact on either, it'll be on YouTube for sure.
Yeah,
but I know
we have it on good authority from Amanda that says that it did go live on Facebook, but I could not get it to work. It still says the live video should start soon.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it went live on my page and maybe not on my regular profile. We'll have to see, because I made the change, but I wonder if it was something that went weird. Anyway, I do promise.
We'll figure it out.
That I will try and get all of the tech issues corrected. So, because we've got our TikTok folks here, we've had quite a few people roll through. Steve Supachano is here at one point. Claudia Ricard was here. My Wonder Twins were here as well. They're not the Wonder Twins, the Side Hustle Twins. Jen and Jess were here. A couple of amazing ladies that live in Winnipeg. Okay, so it was on my professional page then that it worked. Okay. Thanks for clarifying, Mark. So I know which one I need to fix now.
Okay, perfect. I think I might have clicked on the other one, because you did say that you duplicated and then had to delete the other one. But
yeah,
yay technology. We'll fix it.
Exactly. It's one of those weird things. So anyway,
thank you for everybody who joined us this evening, and thank you to everybody who tuned in afterwards.
If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave those. We do check up on our past episodes, and if there is a burning question out there that you have, definitely we would love to be able to either answer it for you or find somebody who knows the answer, because the hypnosis community is one of those communities that is very giving. So if we went to Tom and said, hey, can you answer this, he would not only answer it, he would dump so much wisdom on you that you would accelerate your success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we're here to do, is to facilitate and help out in whatever manner that we can.
100%.
Because if you guys have success, then that means that Jim's legacy lives on, and I'm okay with that.
Yep, and we'll keep going on Hypnosis Hero. I know Jim had plans to start posting on Spotify, and hopefully getting it into the Apple Podcast venue as well. Excuse me. And so that is something that I'll take up and see if we can't start getting some of the past episodes, because we have 3 years of episodes.
And I think it all started with, hey Brian, you want to? I'm doing my Friday Night Live, and
that's right. You guys,
do you want to be a guest? And then it was like, hey, why don't you come back next week? That was fun. Okay, cool. And it's not. I really didn't give it a lot of thought until like just right now. Tom was like, you don't have a whole lot of people that are on right this second. I was like, well, sometimes it takes a minute, but I don't look at it as here's a whole bunch of people that need to look at me. I get to have a conversation with my buddy, a new friend, and then I get to interact with whoever else wants to interact. And if you're, you're a radio DJ that's on the air, and I remember my cousin telling me that he did some kind of guest spots and stuff on that, and at a radio station that he was working at, he goes, you tell a joke on the air, and he goes, you have no feedback. You can't tell if it's crickets, if people are crying, laughing, or anything like that. It's just,
you just go for it.
And it's kind of the same thing. So you just really have to go and have a conversation with the guest. And if people want to call in or however they want to interact, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But,
and I 100% agree with you, Mark. Jim was the best at connecting people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, with that, Shawn, let's let you get back to your evening. I know you've got some big days and stuff coming up and all that stuff. And
yep, all good. Keep me in the loop with your progress and as your face starts, warming back into reality.
Yeah, it's
don't be a chipmunk for too long, like my former sister.
I don't think that there's going to be like a whole lot of swelling or anything like that. I think it's just going to be like numb it up, yank them out, put some bone graft in, let it heal, and they're going to just pop that partial denture in place, and we'll go from there. So,
you're part way to the Tom Cruise zone.
Oh yeah, when everything's all said and done, we'll have to have a soundtrack over that, and I'll find one of my old flight suits or something, and maybe have to invest in some aviator sunglasses. But
well, there you go.
It'll give me time to grow my hair.
My new glasses should be here in the next couple of weeks, also. So the next time we're on air, you should see me in my new glasses.
Looking forward to it.
I was told by the lady that sold them to me that they look very fun. So we'll see how that plays.
Oh, Sean's got a fan.
Sean having fun. Like, what's up with that? No time for that.
Oh, no.
Mark says, take care. And Becca says, hopefully everything goes okay for you, Brian.
Yep, it's in Doc's hands.
Yep.
So.
And it's all good.
And then who... Oh God!
So in 2 weeks time, we have Shawn Michael Andrews.
That's right, Shawn Michael Andrews. I'm looking forward to that. And
and that I believe is on the 25th, and then on the 1st we have Victoria Gallagher.
Awesome.
So, kind of back to back those 2 weeks, but it'll be good because we get the best of stage hypnosis, and then we get a lady who has worked actually very closely with Jim over the years. I know Jim was a co-host on her podcast, and dealing with the law of attraction and clients, and she actually does have working apps. So, I
thought we don't speak ill of the dead.
I'll let her tell the story because if you followed any of it, getting those apps working, Jim would have had to have abandoned a lot of what he was doing to make sure those things were working. I think Victoria had she already had an app that was working and tried to improve it. And I know from experience as an IT guy that when you try to improve something, you generally break one thing, and as you're fixing two, and then you fix those two things and you break four things. So, and it becomes a little bit of cat and mouse as you work to improve it. So,
and anything with the Apple cult, and that's just what I'm going to call it. You have to go and like sacrifice a kidney or a small child to be like, we're going to upgrade your phone. Because
it'll be
I was told that
the phone trade.
Yeah, I was told that it was, we only just support these phones for a certain specific amount of time, and then we just cut everything off and they're worthless.
That's the iOS way.
The term was planned obsolescence.
Yeah, I never quite understood the people that keep Macs for like 7 and 8 years. It's a great machine, it's still working. Yeah, but it's full of security holes. It hasn't been updated for like 4 years. And by the way, the technology has improved. It's a whole lot faster than it was the last time you looked at a PC.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we could go gripe about Apple versus Android for
Apple versus Android, Apple versus proper computer.
Just for good measure, I'll get my buddy Mark in here and have him talk about how Linux is just open source everything, and it's the next generation. But I don't know. I'm like, I just want to be able to jump online, talk to people, do good things with life, and just really simplify. So with that, Shawn.
Yeah. It's
good
time
evening to you, sir.
Time to sign off here. We'll leave you with Jim's best line. Take care, stay well, and be awesome.